Welcome and thank you for joining me today in this masterclass. My name is Petra Brzović. I'm a therapist, a lecturer and a researcher, and my biggest passion is helping people to live the lives that they really want to live and to create the change they need to create. In this masterclass, I will be talking about those things that actually keep us and prevent us from living that life that we actually want to live. So I will be talking about fears and shame and guilt and sadness and all that keeps us holding on to our past, which prevents us to really live happily in present moment and create our future in a way that we secretly wish that our future looks like. So thank you for joining me once again, and let's begin. First, when we accept that we are the ones who create our reality and our lives, and it's up to us how we look at a certain situation that's happening or not happening in our lives, it's one of the first steps towards a change. So when we take responsibility, which is also one of the biggest challenges of changing our lives, because it's so much easier to blame others for whatever is happening or not happening in our lives, that's the first step towards our freedom, because then we know that we have the power to change. We have the power to change our job. We have the power to walk out of a relationship that is not good for us. We have the power to move to another city if we want to, or whatever we want to do. And as long as we continue blaming other people for having this job that's not fulfilling, or having this boss that is really bothering us, or co-workers, or our partner that is not treating us the way we think or feel he or she should be treating us, whatever other reason, as long as we are giving those people our power, we lack the power to make the change. So by taking responsibility, we take that power back, and then we decide what we're gonna do with our lives. I know it's difficult to change because I've been on this path of changing my life and changing my behavior, changing my thoughts, dealing with my emotions, changing my whole life. So I know it's really, really difficult to change. It's a hard path, it's a hard journey, but it's so fulfilling and it's so rewarding. So yes, change can be difficult because we are used to living in a certain way. Our bodies are addicted to living the certain way. And as you know, even if you decide that you want to change things like starting exercising or eating healthier or going to bed earlier, how long does it take you really to change those things, which are just little things that we can adjust in our lives? And not to mention changing the way we live in a broader way, or changing our job, or changing the relationship with ourselves. That's one of the biggest things where we have to start. So of course it's hard. We've been living in a certain way maybe for 30, 40, 50, 70 years, and of course it's hard to change after all those years, but it's so rewarding. And if we want to live a different life, if we want to live a joyful life and a happy life and a life that is full of love and health and abundance, we have to change things that are standing in the way of us having that life. So yeah, there are tools that we can use. There are techniques that are quite simple to understand, and we really need to use those tools and techniques every day, but then they become part of our lives and part of our reality, and it gets easier as time goes by. I would say that first step towards a change would be admitting that we want to change and really making a clear decision that we had enough of whatever unhealthy relationship, job that we don't like, living in a certain way, and then we really decide, okay, I really want to change this, and I'm starting right now. Then when you have this intention of change, there's a big emotional charge behind it, which gives us the push. Also, knowing that you're watching this video right now, I know that you made a decision that you want to change something in your life. And it's perfect that you're here today, because we are going to learn together what are the first steps, how to make them, what techniques can you start using right now to start that new journey towards your new life and towards your new self. I want to talk a little bit about our thoughts and about the importance of the way we think, because we are so unaware of our thoughts and the way we are thinking. And basically what we know today scientifically is that we think between 60,000 to 70,000 different thoughts every day. And 90% of those thoughts are same as yesterday, which means that we basically live the same life and secretly expect that something will change, which cannot happen. Our thoughts are so amazingly powerful, and we create our reality by our thoughts. So first thing that we need to do, one of the first steps that we need to do is become aware of the way we're thinking, become aware of those thoughts, become aware of our thought patterns, of beliefs about anything in our lives that we are working on, about the emotions, about our bodies, because we tend to live detached from our bodies. We live in our heads, but then again, not aware of our thoughts and focus completely on outside, on what other people think, or we got distracted by whether gadgets or social media or TVs or whatever we are doing outside. And one of the first steps is really going inward and really becoming aware. Okay, what am I thinking about this? What is my belief about this? What am I feeling about this? How is my body reacting? Where do I carry certain things in my bodies? What is my body trying to tell me? Is there any pain? Is there any discomfort? Is there any illness? Our bodies really hold a record of everything that's ever happened to us. And they really keep the score. So although we might tend to move on from something thinking, okay, it's something in the past, and I'll just move on and I won't think about it anymore. Although we consciously don't think about that, our body subconsciously remembers everything. And knowing that only 5% of our mind is conscious mind and 95% of our mind is subconscious, we carry a huge storage of memory in our subconscious mind and in our bodies. And eventually, if we continue going through our life trying to not pay attention to what's actually happening in ourselves, what's happening inside, our body will start to send signals. For start, it might be a little pain here or there, a flu here or there, or some minor imbalances. But if we continue not listening to our bodies will eventually start to scream and shout louder and louder. So the sooner we start paying attention to the messages that our body is trying to send to us and to tell us, the sooner we are able to heal and change. So even if you're watching this and you are really in a position that your body is sick and ill in this moment, that doesn't mean that everything is over. You have a huge power to change the way your body feels, to change your present, your future, and your past. In a way that if you choose to, whether without or in addition to taking medicine or going on a surgery or for a surgery, you decide to really dive into yourself and look for the cause and look why did something happen? What am I still storing here? Is it guilt, or is it shame, is it fear? And decide to release whatever is lying underneath. Maybe it's sorrow or sadness, who knows? And then change it in a way that you allow love and trust to come into the place of that sorrow or sadness or fear or guilt or shame. That way you can really heal. Otherwise, you will just mask the real problem, and your body will continue to be more and more ill in order to get your attention. So we really need to pay attention to ourselves. We really need to be aware of what is it we are still carrying in, what is not serving us, and learn the techniques how to change whatever we need to change. And one of the best ways to do that is, of course, being mindful during the day, observe our thoughts, observe our feelings, observe the situations we are getting in relationships. So being aware of whatever is happening and the way we are acting or reacting is one of the biggest tools, being mindful during the day. But also another big tool is meditation. Because when we meditate, we give ourselves a chance to really dive into ourselves and to become aware of whatever is happening inside of us, to become aware of our thoughts, to become aware of our feelings, so that we can change them. And you have to become aware of the thoughts that you're thinking, of the words that you're saying, of the way you're living, of the feelings that you feel in your body, in order that you can know what you have to change. Otherwise, you're just spinning in circles and cannot change anything because you don't know where to start. So first thing is become aware of what you think. Become aware of the way you act or react. Become aware of the way your body is feeling. And then decide what is good for you and what is not good for you. What are you keeping and what are you changing? What is important that we know is the importance of our thoughts. We know today that we have between 60 and 70,000 thoughts every day, and that 90% of those thoughts are the same as yesterday, which basically means that we continue living the same life every day and secretly expect that something might change. But it cannot change, because what we also know today, and what is scientifically proven, is that our thoughts create our reality. As we start paying attention to our thoughts, what actually happens is that we allow ourselves to develop the skill of becoming aware of our beliefs. And some of those beliefs are really good for us, but there are a lot of them that are not serving us anymore. Our beliefs are formed throughout our life, and some of them are formed even in time when we were so young and we couldn't think by ourselves. And we do easily accept beliefs from other people, especially from those who are really important for us, such as our parents, or our grandmothers, grandfathers, our close relatives, our teachers. And we don't question them because we love those people, and we depend on them when we are very young. So we just take that as a truth. And until we become grown-up people, we are not really aware that those beliefs might not be good for us, and that those beliefs might be actually the cause for us having difficulties in our relationships, or at our work, or with whatever's happening in our bodies. And that's why one of the crucial parts of this work is really becoming aware of, what am I thinking? Whose belief is that? Is it mine, or is it from somebody else? Is it good for me, or it's not good for me anymore? What can I do with it, and how do I change it? The process of changing those beliefs, it's not an easy one if we try to change it on a conscious level, because only 5% of our mind is conscious mind, and 95% of our mind is subconscious mind. And we really need to dive into the subconscious in order to be able to change those beliefs easily and successfully. That's why we use different techniques, and one of them is, of course, that you can go have a therapy with a beautiful therapist that is working with subconscious mind, that is working with body, and that knows how to work with those beliefs. But also what you can do is by yourself practice meditation and practice mindfulness during the day. Be really aware. What are you thinking? Where is it coming from? How are you feeling during the day? And then using that awareness in your meditation as well to knowing how to change certain beliefs while you're in meditation and change them. It might take several days or several weeks or several months, but really it's something that is really necessary in order to become that free and joyful and happy and healthy and abundant person that you want to become. It often happens when we become aware of certain belief that doesn't serve us, and that we become aware of the importance of that belief in shaping our current reality, that we tend to start to be angry at the person that actually gave us that belief. We might feel that it's not fair, and we might be angry and sad or have any other emotion regarding that. One of the things that is important to know is that that person also was a child once, and that person had its own journey. It had moments where he or she felt sad or alone or afraid or ashamed or guilty, and all that shaped his or her reality and his or her belief system. And then they gave us that beliefs, and it's just the way it is. They did their best in those circumstances. So again, what we can do is take responsibility for ourselves in this particular moment, and to know that there is no use to continue blaming that person, because that way we are staying in the past. We are really reliving the past, and we are not in the present moment, and in that way we cannot create the future that we want. So take responsibility, understand that that person did the best he or she could, accept it as a fact, and then decide what we want to do with that belief right now, and in what way do you want to change it in order to create the life that you want to create. What I often see in my work is that a lot of people carry a huge amount of guilt, whether they are aware of it or not. And it can be guilt because of something they did in their past or something they didn't do, and they just keep on going in circles of blaming themselves, maybe sometimes blaming even others, and then just going in circles that keeps them trapped in the past. So what we have to do in that moment is to accept, yes, we did something that we are not proud of today. But what we can do is accept that as a fact and change the way how we're gonna act or react towards it. And there is no use of carrying that guilt, because it really drains our energy from living the life that we want to live. We also need to know that we did the best we could in that particular moment with those skills we had in that moment, with the awareness that we had in that moment. In those circumstances, we really certainly did our best. If we would have this knowledge that we have today, this awareness, this maturity, of course we would have done things differently. But it's part of our journey, it's part of our learning. And we all need to know that we are here on earth as humans in order to learn and grow, and that we are all perfect in our imperfections, and that as long as we continue to learn from our mistakes, we are okay. If we do a mistake and we learn from it and then make a different choice in the next situation, we learn the lesson. So that's also a big lesson when we talk about our third energy center, which is connected to our will and to our power, and with taking responsibility for creating our life. And there's also a connection between criticizing ourselves or others. And one of the things is really taking the responsibility for whatever we did, and being okay with making mistakes, knowing that whenever we make a mistake, there is a chance to learn and grow and to transform it in wisdom. And that's how we become wise. We become wise if we walk our path, if we fall and get up. We don't become wise only by listening to other people and listening to their stories, listening to their experiences. Some things we really need to go in our way, and we need to fall and feel the pain and feel the sadness and feel guilt, but we shouldn't allow ourselves to stay in those feelings for too long. Of course, all feelings are okay. They are not good or bad feelings. It's really important that we acknowledge those feelings, that we know it's there. Okay, the sadness is here, the guilt is here, the shame is here, but what can I do right now with that shame or guilt or fear, whatever, and then switch and change and decide what's the next step. And that's how we learn and grow, and that's how we become wise, and that's how we move towards the life that we want to live. Another thing that I often hear is people saying, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. There's nothing I can do. Actually, we always have a choice. And that's another crucial step in this journey of changing your life and starting living your life, knowing that you always have a choice. At least you have a choice how you will view a particular situation. And how will you act? How will you react? What will be the next thing you will do? So there is no such thing as I don't have a choice. I've also been in many difficult situations in my life where I did feel I don't have a choice, where I did feel the need to stay a victim and to blame other people for whatever was happening or not happening. And in that moment it felt okay, because it's so good to be able to blame somebody else. But then I realized when my body was really shouting so loud that I couldn't ignore it anymore, that I need to change some things, and that I have a choice. Am I going to stay in particular circumstances I'm in, or I'm going to invest this little energy that my body had left and start changing my life and creating the life that I'm living today, which I'm really grateful for today. So my illness was my huge wake-up call, and I've gone through this journey myself. I was falling and getting up. I was learning from my mistakes, and that's why today when I talk about this, I really talk from here. I really know, I really feel, I've really walked this path every moment. So I know it's easier to blame others. I know how it feels to be heartbroken. I know how it feels to be scared, how it feels to be guilty, ashamed, sad, and you just name it. I've been through all. And there are ways that we can change it and live this beautiful life with joy and happiness and abundance and health. And it's possible. It's possible for me. It's possible for you as well. It's possible for all of us. We just need to make a decision to change now. And after that, we need to be ready to work, because first step is making a decision that we want to change, but then we need to be ready to really work every day. Start taking time for ourselves and to meditate every day. Start paying attention to our thoughts, to start paying attention to our bodies, to start looking for the better ways to treat ourselves, to start loving ourselves. One of the first fundamental layer that we're building is self-love. From thousands and thousands of sessions I've done as a therapist, what I see is almost always that there's lack of self-love, and that we all need to start from there. And when we learn how to love ourselves, when we reconnect with that little one inside of us, then we just cannot continue hurting ourselves the way we were hurting before, whether it's directly doing harm to ourselves or allowing other people or other circumstances to hurt us. So self-love is something that is necessary to start living, especially if we lived for 30, 40, 70 years not knowing how to love ourselves, especially if we learn to close our hearts in our life, because it's so much easier to live with our hearts closed so we wouldn't get hurt anymore. So yes, it takes courage to open. It takes courage to allow ourselves to feel. A lot of men that I know are afraid to feel, and they just don't know how to connect with themselves. Not just men. There are a lot of women that are just disconnected from themselves. One of the most beautiful things for me to witness is moments where men are opening their hearts and finding their hearts and feeling whatever there is, love and even sadness. It's okay. It's okay to feel the sadness. It's okay to cry. So many boys have been raised that it's not okay to cry, that it's not okay to be sad. And then we are surprised when those men grow up and they don't know how to treat us women in a way with love and respect and feelings. They didn't learn that. And I think it's a moment for all of us to change together and to change as a society and as a civilization, because it's the right time now. Learning to love ourselves can be extremely challenging because we don't know what love actually is, truly. And it can be really unfamiliar and unknown and completely abstract, because we might never have been loved in our lives, or we been loved so long time ago that we forgot, and because of some particular trauma or whatever happened, we closed ourselves so we wouldn't feel hurt and pain, and especially if we've been betrayed by someone who we loved and we thought that person loves us. So if we have been having a closed heart for a long time, it can be really challenging to start learning how to love ourselves. And it's an everyday process. So in each and every moment, we should stop and ask ourselves, what will love do? In a way that we treat ourselves, in a way that we nourish ourselves. It can be from basic things like what kind of food I'm eating, when do I go to bed, do I go to the toilet when I need to go to the toilet, do I take care of my basic needs the way I have to. Many of us don't, and we are just not aware that we don't do that. And then afterwards, another level of awareness is relationships. In what kind of relationships am I? What kind of people am I choosing to interact with? Who are my friends? is my partner treating me with love or not? And why am I staying in this relationship if he or she isn't? Are we still allowing people who hurt us to be present in our lives and continue hurting us? So those ways are ways of setting healthy boundaries, which we forgot to make, or we simply didn't learn how to have them. So there's I would say, a nice dance between having boundaries in a way that I wouldn't even say protect ourselves, but we are taking care of ourselves, but at the same time we are open to giving and receiving. So it's not good to have closed heart and to have too firm boundaries so no love can get in, but also it's not good to not have boundaries and to walk with our hearts like this, because then we just allow anything that comes. So we have to have a certain filter to adjust and feel, okay, this is good for me, so I'm letting it in. Okay, this is not good for me, so I don't want this in my reality. And as we continue to develop, as we continue to become more wise, as our vibration becomes higher and higher, we will stop attracting those situations and relationships that are hurting us. But along the way, we need to learn how to balance with those boundaries and to decide what are we actually letting in, and also to become really aware that it's us who are creating those circumstances. It's us who are attracting certain people in our lives, because every person in our life is there for a reason. So there's no coincidences. So every person is here to teach us something. It just depends on which vibration we are, and especially those people that really push our buttons and make us angry or sad or feeling not good enough or ashamed or guilty. That those people are our best teachers, because they are here to show us, okay, this is your opportunity to love yourself and to stand up for yourself and to love yourself although you did something wrong, if we did something wrong, and to learn from that mistake. So instead of feeling guilty or ashamed, we turn it into wisdom. And as we learn to allow ourselves more and more and then love others more and more, our vibration becomes higher and higher. And then those situations and those relationships that push our buttons are becoming less and less frequent. There are less and less opportunities for them in our lives, because there is no need for them in our lives, because we learned that particular lesson. So it's all about learning. It's all about just going through life, learning from mistakes, changing them into wisdom, choosing our beliefs, choosing our thoughts, allowing ourselves to become aware of the emotions that we feel and work through them and rise on another level. So I would say that the most important thing is to be present, to be aware of what we are feeling and thinking, and to know that as long as we are present, we are okay. So if you start feeling anxious, it means that you are just running into your future and projecting some kind of fear into your future, and by that creating in your future that you are fearing of. So get back to your present moment. Feel that you are okay right here, right now. Work with whatever you need to work with or through here. It might be some unpleasant feeling. It might be sadness or fear or guilt, whatever, but it's here now. You're working through it, and by that you're creating a new future. And also, if you're feeling depressed and low, it just means that you're caught up in something from the past. Again, move your attention to the present moment. Know that the power is here and now. Work through it, raise your vibration, do whatever you need to do in order to change, and then move forward. And what we learn is, and what I teach is how to change in the now, and how to, by that, change our past and our future. So part of my work is working as a therapist, which due to my circumstances, I can do less and less. And because of that, I started teaching workshops, which I still teach in smaller groups, but I can dedicate myself to those people that are willing to change, and I lead them through 8 weeks through the change. So each week we focus on one of the energy centers, and what we do is we learn what is the connection between our thoughts and our bodies, our emotions, whatever is happening inside and outside of our lives. And I teach them how to clear anything that is there to be cleared, whether it's fear, which is connected with the first energy center, or guilt, which is connected with second energy center, or maybe shame or sadness or remorse, or not being able to speak up, or not being able to live our truth, or anything else. And along the way, my students learn many different techniques which they use in their lives, because I want them to be able to really live fully, successfully, happily, abundantly, healthy without me. So I want them to be really independent, to know that all they have is inside. I just teach them how to find the path to that knowledge, and to give them tools. It's like I'm giving the keys that unlocks all those doors that are hiding the truth they are seeking for, which lies in each of them. I'm really grateful for all my students, because they give me this beautiful gift of seeing miracles every day. And some of them are small, some of them are big, but they are miracles they are sharing with me every single day. And by that I know that my path, my pain, anything that I had to go through was so worth it, because I'm living myself a happy, healthy, joyful and abundant life. And I'm able to share my knowledge, my wisdom. I'm able to give them the keys, the tools, so they can make the changes they need to make. It doesn't make me special. It doesn't make me different. I'm just completely the same as all of them. I'm just maybe some few steps ahead of them and just showing the way. And I'm still doing the work every day. I'm meditating every morning. I'm being aware of my thoughts. I'm being aware of my feelings. I work through them every single day. So it's an ongoing journey. We are here to learn our whole lives. And if we at any moment feel that we learned everything we had to, that's a huge illusion. And then life will make everything that it has to make to give us a big slap and show us what is left to learn. So yes, but life is a beautiful journey, and it doesn't have to be through pain and suffering. And since you're here and since you're watching this, it means that you're really ready to make the change, and that you're ready to learn techniques and learn the tools so that change can be easier for you than it was for me. So I want to thank you for joining me today and for listening to this masterclass. I hope that you will learn some new things about yourself and about your life. And I'm really looking forward towards our next 5 days together. And I will continue sharing my knowledge, my tips and tricks, and guide you through these first steps of your new life. See you tomorrow.